Baran and I spent most of the day running around with the other town kids until they scattered home for dinner. Not ready to go back home yet, we chased each other on our way to the large oak we always climbed. Just the two of us. He was smaller than me in height and weight. He zipped up that tree with ease and placed himself center of the largest branch. I struggled up after him and perched myself with my back against the trunk. I was always unsure of how I would fare if I stepped out as far as he did, but Baran never asked me to. "I saw them last night," he said. He kicked his legs slowly. I asked him who he saw last night. "Peri." "You saw Peri? Where did you see Peri?" "There." He pointed to the mountain that loomed in the distance. "You were up on the mountain last night?" "No, you goose." He giggled and kicked his feet more. "I saw them from home. We needed more wood for the fire, so I went to get some. You can see the mountain from the wood pile." And I saw them. "What did they look like?" A breeze ruffled the leaves around us. Baran stared intensely at the mountain. The orange sky colored him the same. At first I only saw one. It was like a star had fallen from the sky, right onto the mountain. It kept coming and going, though. Then another appeared, and another. They kept flickering, like candles, or I don't really know how to explain it. "Are you sure you weren't seeing the stars, Baran?" I adjusted myself to better view the mountain. "You could have just been seeing them from above the mountain." "No, they were right there," he pointed again, "halfway up the mountain." In my mother's stories, the heroes always encountered the Peri in caves or secluded lakes. They hid in the dark or in the murky depths of the waters until the sun went down. And I knew there were caves up on those mountains. Uncle Jamal's son had gotten lost up there once, and they found him a few days later in a cave. My father said the boy was very lucky. He said there were a lot of things up in the thick forest of the mountain. What those things were he never said, only that they were dangerous. I counted 10. What happened to them? They just shimmered or flickered or whatever all the way around the mountain until they disappeared. "Whoa!" Baran's voice dropped to a whisper. He looked at me. "I heard something, though. From the mountain." "What? Was it? Did they say something?" "No, not words. I'm not too sure, but I swear I heard laughter." We both looked at the mountain. The sky behind it was tinted a purple red. I imagined being up in those mountains, in the dark, and hearing laughter. The thought made me shiver. What would it be like to meet a Peri? I asked Baran if he knew. "I would never want to meet one," he said. He swung one leg over the branch, so he now sat facing me. "Why not?" I asked. "They grant wishes, don't they?" "What would you wish for?" He furrowed his eyebrows in concentration and scratched the back of his neck. He always did that when he was thinking hard about something. "A lot of things, I guess. But I would never ask Peri to grant those to me." A wish was a wish. Why did it matter who granted it? Baran shook his head when I asked him this. "Do you know how Samet became the way he is?" he asked me. "Delhi Samet? The crazy guy?" I remembered the few times I encountered him. A tall, lumbering man who would shamble around the village muttering to himself. I never saw him do anything other than that, but the other kids had. At least, that is what they told me. He would catch and eat mice. How he would scream and cry and break the stalls in the market, and it would take 10 men to subdue him. How he drowned a litter of kittens once. Someone said he had murdered his own mother. I do not know if any of that was true. He did scare me, so I always kept my distance. "You should not call him Delhi. It is not nice to say that. If you only knew what happened to him, you would not call him crazy." I apologized. He shook his head, the movement slow and solemn. "So, what happened to him?" I asked. "I heard this from Dilan Abi, my oldest brother. He is the same age as Samet. I saw Dilan Abi thrice in my life, a stout man with a big belly and rosy cheeks who was always laughing, a great storyteller. He moved to Belon Port when we were younger. He was here not too long ago, having made the trip back for a wedding." Baran continued. "He said when they were young, Samet was normal. Not just normal, actually, but brave and kind, and always helping people out, carrying things for the elders, and very smart, too. Dalan Abi said that Samet's father would boast about sending Samet to one of the colleges down south. I had an image of this person in mind, and it was not the same image as the Samet I knew. Dalan Abi said that they were our age when this all happened, but I don't think he knows what my age is." I chuckled, but it died quickly at Baran's solemn countenance. A very bad winter hit our town, the worst one that anyone alive knew. My Abi said this was the worst he had seen since, as well. Winters were harsh here. I remembered the biting cold when I would herd the sheep with my father, my toes and fingers icy even in their woolen gloves, my ears numb no matter how much I rubbed them. The cozy fire in the hearth, its warmth washing over me as I fell asleep amongst my siblings. How we played in the snow. There had been a drought the previous year. The clouds struggled to pass over the mountains. The men hunted deeper and deeper into the woods of the mountain, and east, too, all the way to the Vadi, the valley. There was no food. Baran paused and looked at the mountain. It was like he had been there himself. I was reminded of when his brother told us the story of Mad Sihirbaz, the magician, that terrorized Balan Port some years back. Baran had the same knack for narration as his brother. There was little food, and everyone was burning through firewood so fast. It would not last until the winter was over. They could not get more from the forest? No, there was no snow that winter, just rain and ice. The wood was too wet when they cut it. Even if they dried some by their lit hearths, it wasn't fast enough to replace what they burned. I can't imagine a winter with no fire and no food. Everyone was cold and starving, and worst of all, the sickness came. I remembered this. My mother said it came from the travelers that passed through from the north. She never mentioned the winter, though. Baran nodded along with this, as I recounted what I knew about this sickness. Dilan Abi said it was from the river, that something foul had polluted the waters upstream, far in the mountains. The sickness killed many. The winter had come to an end when Samet's mother also fell sick to it. It started with a terrible fever and a pain in her head that drove her to mutter and wail in the night. Her bones became extremely brittle. In her erratic thrashings, those holding her down could feel her bones crunch and snap beneath their hands. I cringed at his words. I had broken an arm once, and the pain was excruciating. I could not imagine what she must have felt. Samet and his father did not know what to do. A Hekim, a doctor, had come to town on the behest of Haydar Aga. The leader of our town is pretty well known to many travelers, some of high rank. But the doctor had no solution. Week after week, those caught ill died. A very slow and cruel ordeal. And it was only a matter of time until Samet's mother went the same way. It would take a miracle to heal her. Or a wish. Dilan Abi said that Samet had been asking everyone about Peri, where he could find them, if they were even real, and if they could help his dying mother. By now the night had almost encroached upon us. The tiniest sliver of light remained in the sky. I enjoyed these warm nights, but from what Baran had said so far, I wanted to be in my home, out of the looming presence of the mountain and whatever dwelled upon it. We climbed down and started back to our town. So, what did Samet do? What he thought was the only thing he could do. He went to find Peri. Our town sparkled and twinkled invitingly before us. We were not far, but I itched to make a dash to the safety of it. Still, I kept step with Baran. The winter had passed, yet the sickness prevailed, and Samet's mother got worse. One early morning, before the sun had risen, Samet stole his father's hunting gear. He hoisted a pack he had prepared from the night before onto his back and left their home. He had told Dalan Abi of his plan. Unable to leave his friend to do this alone, my Abi agreed to accompany him on his journey. They met on the outskirts of our town, and together they set out towards the mountain.
He had heard that that is where Peri lived. And they do live there. He just didn't know what to look for. They trekked slowly the whole day, avoiding the beasts in there, and slept in a tree during the night. The same the next day until they were far up in the mountain. Now what you have to understand about Peri is that they are like us. Each of them is different from the other. Some are kind and some are cruel. And there are some that are just evil. It was by pure chance that Samet stumbled into the resting place of one such Peri. According to what they heard, Peri only came out at night. The two boys rested in a tree during the day, and when the night came, they stayed up and watched for any indication of Peri. Delanaby said that they stayed there for hours, deep into the night. A mountain cat passed beneath them into the brush, then came back. He said the cat must have smelt them. Its eyes were like silvery coins in the dark. Both boys were silent and held their breaths. The cat leapt up and clung to their tree. Unable to do anything, they watched this beast claw its way towards them, when suddenly the cat stopped. It paused for a moment, then gracefully dropped to the ground and vanished into the trees. It sensed danger. No, evil nearby. I was parched. Imagining the mountain cat climbing to get them was bad enough. I wanted to ask Baran to stop his story. We were in town now, but I could still feel the mountain behind us. Dalan Abi saw it first. A light flickering and fading amongst the trees.
He pointed this out, and they climbed down, scared that the cat may still be nearby. They stalked the light through the forest until they came to a little clearing with a shimmering pool of water above which the Peri floated. Little droplets of light dropped off from it and into the silvery water. They stepped closer, right up to the edge of the pool. It was no longer a ball of light, but rather, I don't know how to explain it. Dalan Abi said it was a person, but small enough to fit into the palm of your hand. Its naked winged body shimmered in the moonlight. He said it was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Samet called out to it, and the Peri floated towards them until it was right in front. The gaze of its eyes was intense. It spoke in a voice so delicate and soft. It said, "Who might you be, little human?" "I am Samet," he answered, but was lost for words. It laughed in response. More starlets broke off from the light surrounding it. "Hello, Samet. What brings you to my home? And who is your little friend?" Dalan told his name to the being. Samet then regained the memory of his purpose for being here. "My mother," he said. "My mother is ill. A terrible sickness that has been killing our townspeople. She has been ill for weeks, and..." The Peri spoke. "I asked for your name." and you gave it to me. It is only polite that you ask mine." Something else now radiated from the creature. Dylan felt a chill trickle down his spine. Samet stammered his response. I am sorry. What is your name?" Neither boy knew what name it gave. Immediately after it finished pronouncing it, the memory of it vanished from their minds. "This was their first mistake," said Baran. "From what Dalan Abi learned from his Sihirbaz friends, magicians that study in the college in Belon Port, you never give your name to Peri, and you never ask for theirs. Names carry a lot of power. That is all they need to work their magic over you. Peri will always try to force an exchange of names and use any kind of trickery to do so." It had just uttered the last syllable of its incomprehensible name when the light around it vanished. All that remained was a pitch-like darkness that oozed around the thing. Delon looked at his friend in terror to see that he was still entranced by the Peri. He wanted to move. He wanted to grab Samet by the hand and run away from this thing, but he could not. His muscles were frozen. His lips would not part to even whimper, let alone scream. "That is better," it hissed. "Much better. Now tell me again what it is you have sought me out for." "My mother. She is in pain." Sachmet slurred his words. "Oh, a very terrible pain it must be to make a young little human such as yourself to come so far up this treacherous mountain." Sachmet nodded. His eyes were glazed over. "And she hurts. Does she not hurt very much?" "She does. And her bones hurt, don't they, when they snap and break?" There was a note of glee in its voice. "They do. What would you ask of me?" Wish?" "Ah, one of those. I can certainly grant something like that. Perhaps I could end her pain. But I am no djinn. I would need something in return." Dylan struggled against the sorcery that bound him, but to no avail. He knew now that this was a grave mistake. He knew that nothing good would come of this. "Anything," Samet said. "Anything? Anything. Well, of all the tastes I have sampled, there is something I have not had the pleasure of eating in so long a time. I would like to taste it again. What would you like to taste?" "Oh, it is just a small thing. A trifle, really. You would not miss it, I assure you. Just your sanity. It has, from what I recall, a purely refreshing taste. What do you say, Samet? I will end your mother's pain, and in exchange, you will give me your sanity. Do you agree?" "I agree." The Peri looked at Dylan. Its mouth contorted into an awful grin that froze his blood. "Wonderful. It is done. Her pain has ended. I will claim my cost in 3 days. Go now and see your mother." With that, the Peri vanished and took with it all the darkness and malice that swarmed around it. The only thing to remain was a cackle that echoed and faded into the forest. We stood in front of Baron's house. Mine was a little further down the street. I was scared, but I wanted to know what happened. They made their way back. It took them 3 days. The day was ending on the 3rd day when they made it back to Samet's house. Was his mother better? Baran shook his head and said, no, she had died. During the night 3 days prior, right when the Peri granted Samet's wish. But Samet had wished for his mother to be better. The Peri had granted his wish. How could she die? The Peri asked if Samet wanted her pain to end, and it did end. She felt no pain now that she was dead. It was a trick. It numbed his mind with its magic and delivered to him his desire in the cruelest way. The sun set when Samet laid eyes on his mother's corpse. He had only time to look upon her for a moment when the Peri took his sanity. The rest you know. He has been like that since. We farewelled, and Baron disappeared inside. I walked home, faster than I usually do, with my back to the mountain. I was at our door when I felt the most chilling feeling. I looked back and saw tiny little dots of light, like a star, flickering high up in the darkness of the mountain.